What's going on, guys? It is Wednesday, December 14th, just after 10 a.m. Just finished up a one-time check, and now I'm headed down to a local church to replace an inducer assembly on a Carrier. I believe it's Carrier. It's either Carrier or Bryant. I believe it's a 7.5 ton package unit, gas pack, and yeah, it's got a burn-up inducer on it, so I'm headed over there to replace that. They didn't have the inducer in stock, so what I did, or the inducer assembly rather, in stock, so what we did is we ordered all the individual pieces and I'll just put it together on site. So that is the game plan. Thankfully the sun is out now because it's been raining the last couple days and also this morning, but got blue sky and sunshine now, so hopefully it will stay that way. But we should be there in about 5 minutes or less, and we'll see what sort of video we can get on this repair, and hopefully take y'all along with us, so stay tuned. Alright, up here on the roof, not sure how well you can hear me. This is what we're working on. We're changing that inducer assembly right there. But yeah, I got the doors off, starting to take it apart. Got all my parts up here. It's kind of interesting because I'm working on essentially standing on the giant hood. It's at a nice 45-degree angle. But yeah, sun came out, blue sky, so no rain in sight. But oh, that's the inducer we're changing out. You can see we put a new capacitor on it before because the capacitor was swole up on it, but she's bad. She free spins, but when you apply power to it, it doesn't do anything other than make a nice electrical burning smell. So we are going to swap her out today, and like I said, we got pretty much everything to rebuild it. New housing, new wheel, motor, some RTV. So have to and have the gasket kit in stock, and taking off that little collector box, the front of the collector box. I need to put some RTV on there, and then RTV on the where that gasket is right there, if you can see it. There'll be RTV there, and then we'll scrape the rest of this gasket material off and throw some RTV down there as well. But not really a whole hell of a lot to it. Pretty straightforward. Inducer assembly is assembled. Everything is good to go. Clearances are all good. Had to scavenge a couple screws or a couple nuts from this assembly because this motor did not come with any to attach down there, and these have the little locking washers on them. So I scavenged a couple from this one in the front and one in the back that were easy to get to, and then two from the top. So everything's put together now. All we need to do is scrape that gasket material off of there before we apply our RTV. And yeah, so far so good, nice and smooth. Glad the sun came out. Makes it a hell of a lot more enjoyable than doing this up here in the rain. So we'll get to it. Oh, and I almost forgot, I'd like to thank my sponsor. So as soon as I get one, I'll start thanking them. Inducer's in place. Let's see our high temperature silicone oozing out the seam. But everything's back in. Just got to put the front of this collector box on. Scraped all the gasket material off, put some new RTV on, and then we'll just line that bad boy up and push it on there. Sometimes I put it on the actual collector box instead of on the on that front panel that comes off, but I usually get this crap all over me anytime I use it, sort of like mastic. But yeah, I put it on the panel so I can kind of line up the panel and then push it on there, and maybe make it a little bit cleaner for myself and the unit. But we'll go ahead and pop that on there, throw some screws in it. Now if you read the instructions on the RTV, you're really supposed to let it cure for 24 hours before you fire off the unit. But I'm going to briefly fire this unit off. It's not cold today. It's not going to be cold until tomorrow when they're going to need the heat. So once I put this thing together, I'm going to briefly fire it up just to make sure it does function, and then we'll leave it down until tomorrow. Collector box put back together. Everything is wired. Secured the wires, all that good stuff. Now, since I don't want to go all the way downstairs into the sanctuary to turn the thermostat on, I'm just going to jump it out over here. And like I said, basically just make sure my inducer comes on, just make sure the furnace fires off. I'm not going to let it run for any period of time. Basically just make sure it fires off and everything operates. Then we'll let the RTV cure for 24 hours, and then they can use it as they like. We'll come back and fire it off and let it run for a while, but we're going to jump it out and hope that it fires. One other thing I noticed, whenever you're working on gas furnaces, a rule of thumb I always use is never sit directly in front of the burners unless you've seen the furnace fire off. It's a good way to lose your eyebrows or other facial hair. But anyways, just a little tip. Once you've seen it fire off a couple times or fire off, then you're safe. But if you've never seen the furnace fire off before, it's probably a good idea to keep your face out of it. But we're gonna go ahead and cross our fingers and jump her out. Oh yeah. Sweet. I have my jumper off now, so it'll cycle off in a second. But yeah, everything's operating as it should. Woo. Hot, hot, hot. And yeah, now I'm gonna pack up all this crap and shut this disconnect off. Like how convenient that is. But yeah, put everything back together, button it up, and carry all this stuff back down the ladder, back down 2 flights of stairs, and out to the truck. Actually, correction, no I won't. I have another unit to work on up here on this roof. I don't believe it's that unit. I think it's one that's back on the other side of the building. There's about three of these little rooftop accesses. There's 2 units on each one, so I'll pack this one up and go find out which one I need to take a look at. So thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Alright, inducer's out. Like I said, it's pretty simple. 3-wire hookup essentially, just L1 and L2, and your centrifugal switch, just essentially like does basically what a pressure switch does. Just tries to ensure that that the motor's operating, that you're not just firing off with no draft or no inducer operation. So, but yeah, pretty straightforward. I'm not sure how well you'll be able to see or hear, but not sure how well you can see, but the windings in there are cooked. Some of them are really rusted, some of them are black and charred up, but yeah, she be bad. So, and the gasket came off in pretty decent shape, but like I said, just as precaution, I try not to reuse them. I'll either get a whole new gasket kit if it's available, or just use the RTV high temperature silicone and make my own gasket. But this right here is the reason why we ordered the entire assembly, because that bad boy is rusty. I can't even see the Allen key. It's pretty much rusted to nothing. But yeah, instead of wrestling with that, just put a brand new one on there. So, but also I got to scrape all this gasket material off of here and get it prepped for the RTV. But yeah, like I said, very simple, not groundbreaking repair by any stretch, but yeah, we'll scrape that off of there and start putting all these pieces together, and when I come back we should have everything back together and getting ready to assemble it back in the unit.